Now, let me make a point that's very technical. Because typically, I don't make this technical point, but in the workshop that I've developed, I make it, it seems to go over well, people better understand the meaning of assessment. In order to, again, track the thing that's most important if you're going to protect your memory, you need to understand short-term memory. So I give a test called the California Verbal Learning Test. It's a wordless test. Again, why? Because we're such verbal creatures. It's not the only type of memory system, but it's very critical to our existence. So let me show you 3 slides of results. Because again, for those who have been assessed by me, or been with people that are assessed by me, I always show you the graph and the printout. Because this is very critical. The way it works is, I give a list of 16 words. I repeat it several times. I then distract you. And then I come back to it. And let me walk you through a couple of results. This first one is a person that came in, was about 52, if I remember right, PhD in early childhood education, referred by her workplace because they said she has early Alzheimer's disease. So if she has early Alzheimer's disease, what do I have to for sure demonstrate? Short-term memory loss, right? Okay, so let's look at her results. This is her graph. Let me walk you through that. See that hashed gray bar that jumps around? That's normal for somebody her age at 52. So her diamonds are where compared to normal? Way above normal. Of the 3,000 or 4,000 people I've tested, this is incredibly unusual. Does she have Alzheimer's disease? Absolutely not. Will she ever get it? I don't know. I don't know about me. How am I going to know about her? I mean, we just don't know those kind of things. What happens is if you give her practice, she starts with 6, goes to 11, 14, and then they get in. And I tell you about the rest of the test, but there's nothing to say. Her memory is like a steel trap. Once it's in, it's in. She quit her job and got a new job. Contrast with that. Think of that for a moment, how that lays up. This next person is a 64-year-old psychiatrist who came in because he and his wife were worried he couldn't do his practice anymore because he couldn't quite monitor his patients adequately. And by the way, both of these people did excellent on most of the evaluation. But the short-term memory, I would propose, looks radically different. Look what's happening with him. There's that same gray bar for him. That's based on who he is. What would you say about his short-term memory? It's terrible. But he's so smart and so organized, he's doing really well. And they're getting their life plan together. Does he have Alzheimer's disease? I don't know. Because maybe it's a memory loss that's just going to be a memory loss for the next 20 years. Maybe it's not going to progress. You can't tell by one evaluation. And again, what I did was read the list 5 times. He went from 2 to 6 words. I distracted him. Now the 6 words become 4 words. The second diamond here, I gave him hints. Tell me all the furniture. They didn't help. I waited 20 minutes because some people are just overwhelmed and they go, you got to be kidding me. And that goes away. And the memory pops after 20 minutes. Well, it didn't with him. It got worse. And the hints still don't help. Now remember I did the true, false, yes, no? That's this last bar that's over here sitting by itself. And with him, I'm very pleased that I did it. I went back and read all the words on the list, all the second list, and a bunch of other words. And his task was to pick out the correct words from the first list. And he was actually quite good at it. He could only tell me 2 words after 20 minutes, but he really knew 12 of them. And see that other little round blue dot? Well, you can't see it's blue here, but that round dot that's low, that's the number of words he said yes to. There's hardly any of them. So his brain's still storing. So we found out we had a lot to work with his memory. And that's what an evaluation should be about. Why do I tell people to get these tests early? And you don't have to do the whole neuropsych eval. I mean, this is the thing to check your memory out. Let me give you one more example. This is a graph from an 80-year-old that came in. Not today. An 80-year-old who came in, and she said, I am worried because I have in my family Alzheimer's disease. So I'm scared. And I said, okay, we'll assess her. And by the way, she again did excellent on all the other assessment. Her brain was working very, very well, except we're going to look at some interesting twist of her short-term memory. So she comes in when she was 80, that's the red line. Compared to normal for her, how's her short-term memory on the red line? Excellent. Now we look 2 years later at the diamonds, the black diamonds. How's her short-term memory compared to normal? Fine. But how is it compared to her? Less. Does she have Alzheimer's? Don't know. What are we going to do? Get a good life plan together. Get her life together so she can have a good life, even if she gets more forgetful, because we're going to get ahead of it. And family gets involved. I mean, it's a whole process that involves everybody. That's why I have families sit in on my assessments, because I'm trying to help them understand what they're dealing with at all levels. And that's why I encourage people to get memory tests, not the screening apple table penny, but a rigorous one, because even at the second one, apple table penny should be reassured she has no memory problem. By the way, there's one more, and I didn't want to make the slide too complicated, where memory went down more. But although our other tests were excellent over about a 10-year period of time. So again, she bought lots of time. And contrast the short-term memory with the long-term memory. What works well into Alzheimer's disease or other progressive dementias? Long-term memory. Again, it makes me kind of crazed still. I'm still reading, do crossword puzzles, learn a new language, and you'll put off or reverse Alzheimer's disease. It just doesn't work that way. Again, I have people that do crossword puzzles that have Alzheimer's disease. They do the New York Times on Sunday in ink. If they remember to buy the paper. I can't tell you how many children come in and say, I won't play Scrabble or bridge or whatever with mom or dad because they beat the pants off me all the time. But how can I get them to go? They need the stimulation, but they forget to go. Artists that forget to paint that still paint well. Again, the objective of treating Alzheimer's is to hold the person's life together as long as possible, as long as those skills still work. And what still works? Often long-term memory. I had somebody that came in once, the neurologist said, you have mild cognitive impairment with memory disorder, short-term memory. What I want you to do is go out and learn a new language. Worst advice you could give him, why? He can't learn a new language. His memory system won't acquire the structure or the words. He needs something that's built on him. I had somebody once who was very clever about this, and what he did was he used to love to play the guitar. And he went back to play it again after a number of years, and he loves playing the guitar. I had somebody that was 97 in one of the facilities, could still play classical music beautifully on the piano. If you left the keyboard open instead of closing it and directed toward the keyboard. You've got to build the quality of life on what works, and you need to figure that out early, not later. That's all long-term memory. That's the treatment plan for my life. Some facts. Forgetting it is normal. It always was, it always has been, it always will be. That's how the brain's structured. It's not a bad thing to forget. In fact, sometimes it's kind of good. There's some things I wish I could forget that I can't.